Hey boys and girls, Ken Smith Fishing from the world headquarters of Uvalde, Texas. I have not been down here. I came down to switch trucks before Ivy in October for one night. The boat wasn't even here. I hadn't been down here fishing since the 4th of July, and I was so looking forward to it. Now I am 4 weeks, it's Thanksgiving today when I'm recording this, but I'm 4 weeks and 2 days removed from having my left hip replaced. I wanted to go fishing, but I was a little spooky. I knew it was going to be windy about doing it by myself, so I called my buddy Jim from Houston. He came up and fished with me because the last thing I wanted to find out was how well I could swim with a new hip. So Jim come up, and we wanted to do a little bit of bass fishing. So, and before I go there, I also I'm not ready to tournament bass fish yet. It was rough yesterday, and at one point there was 3, 4, 5 footer, three footers out there, and I can feel them in my hip. I can feel them pitching in the boat, and I can feel them riding in the boat. So I've still got at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks of physical therapy left. I'm gonna finish that up before I tournament fish, and I say all that to say this: my buddy Phil is running a Bass Cat Owners tournament down here. There's a flyer right there for it, and I'll put in the description, if you're watching this on YouTube, in the description below, all about that tournament. It's not an expensive tournament, but it's a Bass Cat Owners tournament that Phil's put together. He calls it the Texas Louisiana, but you can be from anywhere. And I'll put Phil's contact information down there below as well if you want to find out about that. I'm not going to fish it. I just don't feel like I'm quite ready to be out in the boat, because I know me, and if I'm out there and I'm being competitive, I'm going to want to run where I want to run and do what I want to do. And frankly, I don't want to hurt myself. So I'm going to be cautious about it. And I'm also speaking that afternoon to some high school guys down here that are coming to fish the tournament, which I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So, but we will be fishing hard come January. So we've been away from Rayburn since July, but we'll be back down here a bunch through the winter, fishing January, February, March, all the stuff down here. I think I'm still going to fish the Bass Champs North Division, but I'm going to fish some other stuff down here. Have camera shut off. I hope to fish the Brandon Belt tournament. That's a high dollar tournament that Ross is involved with. That is, I believe, the first week of February. As that gets closer, I'll talk more about that, but it's an expensive tournament, but it is a huge payout. It's the biggest payout I think I've ever seen in a team tournament. So that should be really interesting. And I'm probably going to fish that as well. Probably going to try to fish the BFLs. The challenge there is the BFL in February is on the last day of the Brandon Belt. And as I understand it, if I remember right, it's a qualifier. So first day winners fish second day, or maybe first 2 days fish third day, but not everybody fishes the third day. But I don't want to pay an entry fee and not be able to fish a tournament. So I'm hopeful maybe BFL will move their tournament, because that's going to be a really big draw, but knowing them, they probably won't. And I might try to fish the Toyota Series or whatever they're calling it this next year as well. So we'll just see how that all works out. But I'll be fishing a lot more this year, so I'll get a lot more Rayburn reports up for you guys like we've done in years past. And but so Jim and I wanted to go fishing, and we wanted to go do a little bit of bass fishing. So we ran out, trying to kind of stay out of the wind. And we pulled up on a spot, and kind of here's what happened pretty dadgum quick.
What are you doing back there?
You know I'm amateur. Little.
Rattle it. He got it. Ooh, got him. Oh! Another little guy. You know there's some muffins back here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Got to be some mumbles back here somewhere. Put that camera on and off again, Bill. I don't know if you can see me in there. That was up on the shallow part. I pulled it by a stump.
a more substantial fish.
It is or it isn't?
It is. So let's put it in. Maybe bigger than the other one here. He would
Almost keep. Right near almost.
look at that. Ken, they're getting bigger.
Is he a keeper?
I think this is a keeper.
I'd be measuring him. On Rayburn, I'd be measuring him and going crap. It doesn't matter.
I come up and meet the rest of your guys, see if they can work with me, see if I can work with them. And that's the rest is history. Yes, indeed.
Get him! He's a giant! Sorry, Mike Iaconelli. He's a giant! He's a giant pound fish. Nope, not even a pound. But you know what we're doing? We're getting bites on Rayburn, Jim Jones. And that's what's fun. Yeah! Back on Sam Rayburn catching fish.
I think I might have to change rods.
Yeah.
I don't have enough line to make a decently long cast.
I don't think I have any line with me, other than that monofilament that you don't want to use as your main line. Pull that right on the edge of the creek. That might be a better one. Nope. That one thumped it like a big one.
Number 9.
So Jim just told me that we've caught 9 fish now. We've probably had as many missed fish as we've caught. We've been out here maybe an hour.
Maybe.
But they're no big ones, so I told him we're gonna catch 3 more off this spot and we're gonna move on. Go see what else we can figure out.
I got him, but he's little. I think he was.
Talk to me.
That's a better fish. Feels better.
Better than what?
Better than them 6-inchers I've been catching. And he's not come up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the biggest fish I've caught
It's gonna be the big one.
today. Oh, he's going to be a 2 3/4 pound fish.
Come on.
Yeah. I think this is
The right spot. We were on a dink fest this morning.
All right, so we're throwing a Carolina rig. I've talked about this before. My Carolina rig setup is 20-pound Cigar fluorocarbon leader. In this case, it was in Vizex. Then I throw usually about a 3-foot, unless I'm in grass or around a lot of wood, I'll shorten it up. But usually about a 3-foot leader. In this case, I was throwing old big game, 15-pound green big game line as a leader. It's super durable and it makes the bait float up a little bit better. But a lot of times, especially in clear water, I'll throw a fluorocarbon leader as well. But that water had a little stain to it. I pretty much always throw a 1-ounce sinker. What I'm fishing for is on bottom, so I want to get it down there and I want to fill that bottom. Couple of beads, and then I throw, in this case, I'm throwing a little 2/0 owner rigging hook. Now, I don't trust that hook come tournament day. I throw a bigger hook. Come tournament day, I throw usually a 3/0 O'Shaughnessy or just a J-bend worm hook, because I have sprung those hooks on big fish. I've not lost, I don't think, many big fish, knock on wood, throwing that hook, but I've caught a bunch of fish where that hook was sprung when I got them to the boat, because I know not to pull on them real hard with that. But you see, I throw that with a wide spool reel because I want to throw it a long ways. That 20-pound line's big line. And in this case, I almost always throw my Carolina rig on a Super Duty 3-rod, but I was throwing it on a Magnum flipping stick. It's just something I picked up. I didn't have a rod handy to tie this on with. I just tied it on with that, and it worked great. So I'm gonna leave it on there for now. But I usually throw a barrel swivel unless I'm around hydrilla, in which case, or milfoil or any kind of grass, in which case I'll switch over and I'll throw a bullet weight, a 1-ounce bullet weight. But what this spot is it's a creek winding through a flat. Flat's covered in stumps. That particular area, the off the creek's usually about 6 or 7 feet. Well, in this case, the lake's down a couple, 3 feet, so it's only about 4 or 5 feet off the edge of the creek. But this particular place is a river swing, is a creek swing, excuse me, and there's an old bayou, or an old slough, if you will, behind where that creek swung. And so instead of just being creek bank straight up to the flat, it's creek bank, a little flat, a little bit lift, a little flat, and then that slough in behind it. And those fish seem like they want to come up. There's 3 or 4 of them in this particular creek. They want to come up on that little shelf and feed. And you saw we caught a bunch of fish. We didn't catch any big fish. I've caught some big ones there before, but we didn't want to get out in the wind, and we just wanted to catch fish and have fun, so we pulled back there and caught a bunch of dinks. But what we really went out to do was we wanted to do a little bit of crappie fishing. I don't crappie fish a lot. Jim crappie fishes a ton. So those are his rods, his jigs, the whole smear, the little, I believe it's a Wally Marshall jig. He puts those little kibbles, those little, I don't even remember what they're called. I'll find them and post them right there on a 16th ounce head. He really believes in that little thing he sticks on the hook, 6-pound line. And we started out on some piles in about 15, 16 feet of water. And you see, well, let me show you what we're doing. So by the way, you see we've got it set 30 feet out, and we manually set the depth. And we keep it out because we really only want to look at that little section right there, which kind of blows everything up by shortening up how much space we're looking at. So you see there, I've tuned that Garmin where I'm only looking about 25 feet out in front of the boat. I want to get everything as big as I can, and I've manually set the depth just below the bottom of the lake, so that I'm getting as big a picture as I can on that Garmin unit. And what we were seeing on those shallower piles was those fish coming up and looking at that bait and swimming off. If you've never done it, I haven't done it much. Actually, I haven't done it at all. I've done a lot of crappie fishing. I've never done it with a live scope before. It is stupid addictive. And Jim told me, again, he does it a lot. He's a very good crappie fisherman. And he said, we got to get on deeper piles. For some reason, these fish aren't wanting to bite on these shallower piles. And of course, they might not even be crappie. They probably were. So we ran down and we literally found piles. I looked at the map, I looked at which way the wind was blowing, and I said, all right, in this area, we can get a little bit out of the wind. Flipped on the side imaging. Sorry guys, camera shut off again. Flipped on that side imaging on that garland and started going down about a 24 foot down the contour line, and saw a pile, saw a couple piles, dropped waypoints on them, turned back around, come up to them, and immediately started catching fish. So I had put a split shot on mine so I could see it a little better, because I've not done a lot of this. And Jim started whooping my butt with that little bitty bait. And it actually has kind of had an impact in my head on maybe how I'm gonna bass fish piles in the future. And what we saw was, and I'm gonna get footage of this. I didn't get footage of it other than the little bit I showed you there. But we saw several times, my bait would go down to the pile, and Jim's would go, and several times we saw that, and fish come up out of the pile and get it before it got to the pile. So they obviously liked that slower fall, and they could obviously see it coming down to them. And as soon as I switched, as soon as I took my little split shot off, it was on, and we caught a bunch of fish. Guys, I know the audio stinks here, and I apologize. You know, I go fishing, and it's windy some days, it's not windy some days, it's howling some days, and it's blowing pretty good. You can see we're hidden here. Those of you who know where we are, that's Jackson Hill's just to our left right there. So we're facing the bridge, and that's that little island you run around when you come out of Jackson Hill. And there's all kind of brush piles through there. But again, we're just hiding from that big south wind's all we're trying to do here. And that brush pile's in 24 feet of water. And what we figured out was the fish were about halfway down the brush pile. This brush pile was about 12 feet tall. So we were probably catching these fish in about 18 feet of water, over 24 feet of water. And Jim really put it on me here, just basically using that little lightweight without a drop shot, without a split shot. And once I put mine on there, you see that's a pretty nice one right there. We started catching. We caught a lot of little fish, but guys, this video footage is
I'll tell you something, boys, that is too much fun right there. I'm not gonna keep that. He's a little yucky looking, but I dropped it down there and I saw him come up.
I don't know what this is, 5 or 6 or 7 fish. This is maybe 20 minutes. I mean, once we got on that pile, actually, and that's the only pile we fished right there. It was one after another after another. And, you know, those are pretty solid fish. I think we kept 8 or 10 fish. So here we go back to the actual footage. Fish. I didn't show you all the fish we caught, but we had a really good time, and man, that's fun to do. I understand now why guys get so hung up on doing that, and that's got me even more excited for my metal boat search. If you didn't see that, guys, so I've started the Great 10 Boat Search of 2022. I've already got several guys reached out with boats. There's no inventory anywhere, but I know I've already identified a Vexus, and I think somebody's reached out to me with an Express and a G3, but we're going to get on those here real soon and start getting you guys some 10 boat reviews done. But 10 boats are a great way to crappie fish, but it was so much fun. I really enjoyed spending the day with Jim. I was really pleased. I was a little bit sore at the end of the day, but not near as bad as I thought I might have been from being out in the boat like that. So that's my Rayburn report. I do hear, since I've been down here, that there's a pretty good deep bite. If the wind's not blowing tomorrow, I'm going to try to do that. If the wind's blowing tomorrow, I think I'm going to go up the river. So I'm just going to go where, because again, I'm not feeling, and I'll be by myself tomorrow. So I'm going to be really careful. I'll have my life jacket on. But I'm going to go fish tomorrow a little bit, and the weather's going to dictate 100% what I go and do. And as soon as I get that footage edited, I'll get it posted up for you guys, so that you've got another Rayburn report from another style of fishing. So thanks for tuning in. Back to Rayburn. Man, I'm so happy to be here at the world headquarters, and I appreciate you guys watching. And we'll see y'all again here in just the next couple of days.